Hi, everybody. Welcome back, and good to see you all. Last we left off, as just to get a quick recap, as we've already gotten all the tee haha giggles out of the way. Where we last left off, about 2 weeks ago, was everybody was preparing to get ready to go. You had all finished up the festivities at the big tower at the center of at the center of the town. There we go. Sorry. And in doing so, with a heated arm wrestle with a bunch of elderly, out of their prime men and one oiled up ballistra, her words, not mine, the party ended off on a relatively high note. Most people deciding to take a bath, a couple others deciding to leave. And then that following morning, they went out and they decided to go and get some more information, get some supplies, get themselves ready for the long journey ahead. One that would take at least 6 months if they were lucky. About at least 5 months if they were lucky. But it's a 6 month until you get there, so we can take a little bit of reprieve if you get a little sidetracked. Subsequently, you ran into a lovely shopkeeper and his lovely granddaughter, who's very ill. Sala immediately exposed himself to a random woman. I should clarify, not that way. He exposed his participation in the tournament. Bad wording. Let me try that again. Sala exposed his identity to a bartender because of his horrific skills at lying. And where we ended up leaving off, just as a quick refresh, was that Ballistra wanted to speak to a couple of people regarding the tournament, just getting some general information on it. And more importantly, after that, it was Yushra who wanted to have a group meeting to determine, well, some things. We don't actually know what it was, but out of character we do. At least I think so.
We do?
Actually, you know what? No, you don't. I do. I know what it is.
Never brought up out of character.
Yeah, no, I know what it is. In Sala's defense, by the way, Jake.
Yeah, in Sala's defense, he's a man of the truth, not of lies. He's an honest man.
I'll give you that. I really should have found a better word rather than he exposed himself.
He shared his name with.
He shared his name.
Allegations beaten.
That's what they call manifestation these days.
Oh no. Okay, anyways, back on track.
Sometimes it feels like I never left Genesis.
The Dusty Sandman. He's a pervert. Anyways, where we kick things back off and where I think a good place to start is actually pivoting pivoting and turning towards Ballistra, because I assume the rest of the shopping can mostly be done off screen. Absolutely no reason to kind of kick around in shops for the rest of the session anyways, considering that it's going to be a shorter.
No, that's a wonderful and completely productive way to roleplay out every single purchase, every copper, everything.
Yeah!
I will accept no substitutes.
In gratuitous detail.
It is my turn.
It's my turn. God damn it, you're right, though. Anyways, let's try and hand wave most of it, except for Ballistra, who is going right now to get some information, and garnering said information from where is actually the question I posed to you, Quest. Where is Ballistra going? Where is she going to be looking for information? It's probably been about an hour since you all met and gathered your things at the apothecaries and a couple other businesses for food and whatnot. About an hour has passed. Where does Ballistra want to go to get that information?
There's a few places you can go for rumors. The obvious first thoughts I think most people have is, typical social hubs, bars, restaurants. Does Alanast have criers?
People who are like throwing out information to the masses.
Yeah, news announcers, basically.
Yes, actually. Generally, they're not on every street corner, but with this being the primary road, there is a small town square, a town circle, and in the center is a crier who is basically delivered letters directly from the capital. Kind of similar to how you guys chased down those paper birds. That's how they're delivered to him as well. So that there is, yeah. The town square I'm going to call it the town square, but it's a circular area. The town square itself is a relatively bustling place, even though, as I mentioned last session, the main street is relatively bustling because of the excitement from yesterday of a bunch of superpowered crazies running through the main gate and sprinting up towards the tower. So that's fun. But the town square is almost always busy, and the crier is, as usual, usually giving out information at the top of the hour.
Okay. In that case, Ballistra would, I think, disguising is hard, especially for her. Don't exactly have contact lenses, so just going around and trying to ask without drawing attention is going to be difficult. We made a show of ourselves yesterday, and if one guy at the bar is able to guess who Salah is, then any attempt at subterfuge is probably going to not work out amazingly. Not that Ballistra knows that, but for sake of brevity. And also, Ballistra's a fairly direct person anyway, so I think the idea for her would be to hang around that town circle, hang around the town center, listen to the news cries, and also say when one of the criers comes down from the podium, finishes announcing at the top of the hour, give it a second, and then potentially approach them once they're moved away from the crowd, and maybe ply them for a little bit for some rumors, because people like that in that kind of position, they're newscasters basically. They hear all kinds of things.
More than understandable. Well, while you wait around then in the town square, and you make your way down, you got your bag of goods that you still got, I assume. You just kind of getting ready as the crier in the center of the town is actually reading off of a paper some general information and updates, and shockingly it's relatively boring and surprisingly mundane for the information that you hear, at least from what he's talking about. There's the obvious ones, such as the upcoming tournament in Parole, and a couple others like any property damages that were suffered yesterday due to the strange events, please reach out to the tower and we will compensate you. General things like that, and there's also some minute stuff like there's a sale going on over at this stuff and whatnot. It's shockingly things that you would not necessarily expect to be updated so fast are getting so, and are being done so, rather. But they're relatively short. The crier there is a middle-aged man. He's balding, and he's wearing traditional Alanasta garb. Nothing too fancy, a little bit hardy, but he still carries himself with a bit of, I want to say, pomp and circumstance is a good way to say it. He feels as though, at least just by looking at him, that he feels very proud in what he does. And once he finishes off, he tosses the paper into the air, to which it forms back into a paper bird and flies back up towards the tower, past between everybody, which is always a spectacle. And when that ends up happening, some people clap, some people just kind of jeer and look, and most of the time, though, at least most of the residents who are here right now, they don't even care. They just see it and they just go about their separate ways. The crier steps down and just kind of takes a seat on the steps on his little podium.
I imagine information flow is much smoother when you've got the region functioning also as an expedited mail system.
Precisely.
So she's watching this, she tracks the birds, tries not to gawk and come across as just like tourist that she kind of is. Kind of reassured that the open news is relatively banal, but then will kind of wind her way through the crowd and approach the news crier by the side of the podium.
He's sitting there just kind of twiddling his thumbs when you approach, and as you do, he meets up with your gaze, looks back down, assuming that you're kind of just lost. Not many people come up and talk to him, shockingly, and then he looks back and goes, can I help you with something?
As a matter of fact, I believe you can. I was...
Well, not every day I hear that. Normally I am just given information. I don't...
Well, if you don't mind a bit of impropriety, that's precisely why I wish to speak with you. You hear a lot of things, and a lot of people pass you information but don't necessarily speak to you. I was hoping to talk to you, maybe ask if you've heard any rumors around town, or because there's a lot of scuttlebutt going on about the coming tournament Parole. No wonder you yourself just announced it, speaking about it, and I was wondering if you'd heard anything about it. Anything extra? Maybe anything that's passed through your hands or anything? Just rumors you might have heard. I have an intense curiosity in it. I'm a very big fan of combat sports.
Are you a traveler then?
Oh yes, of a fashion. Yes, I just recently got finished traveling around the Lake of Heroes.
Oh, impressive. And he kind of slaps his knees and as he stands up. And that old the I'm over 30 groan.
Exactly.
As he shakes out a little bit of the weight in his spine, his lower back, he goes, "Well, I made that trip a long time ago. I was born in Prolino, but I don't worry about the tournament. I hate to tell you this, but it's a very cloak and dagger affair. It's very hard to find much information, but well, what do you want to know? The rules?
Well, I don't know too much about the rules. That's one thing. All I know is that there's everybody has to have an offering. Everybody has to approach on foot. That I know. I don't know a thing about like the rules in the actual ring, for instance. I hear much about who might be participating in terms of the nations, but not who the nations might be putting forward.
Well, that's by design. The nations often keep it very close to their chest, as we've had in the past some unfortunate accidents.
That makes sense, yes.
Indeed. In fact, the only tournaments and the only nation we ever going to compete are the Grand States. But that is neither here nor there. That's expected. So this year we are aware of Nostra.
Yes, I've heard about that. They're entering independently, aren't they?
Yes, after they spit in Lord Archon Caspian's face, they made very clear on their intentions.
Here I've been hoping for a very long time that we'd remain allies.
Well, I don't suspect that we won't. I suspect, though, that there is a little bit more at the helm now that this new leader is taken over.
Well, thank you very much. I know it's not easy, and that it's perhaps a bit much to expect open news of a shadowy tournament like this to be public knowledge.
Oh well, that's the joy in it. It is public knowledge, but only as much information as they want to give us to the public, which is the problem that we so often face.
Indeed. Oh, still all the same. Thank you for the chat. I wish you a good day, and yes, wind carry you safely. I will see you. Perhaps see you around.
Well, if you are here, then I am here, is generally the rule.
Well, yes. I'll see you. I'll see you next time I pass through the center. Then.
Of course. Before you go, miss,
yes.
do you intend on visiting the tournament?
Yes, I as you guessed, I am a traveler, and I take a particular interest in combat sports. As I said, I most certainly intend to go see the tournament.
Wonderful. Would you like a little side bit of information, then?
If you're offering.
No, it's very simple. Buy as many things as you can from Pirol. Very easy to sell back here. I made a good bit of money when I was younger doing it.
I'll keep that in mind.
Of course. Oh, and watch out, if depending on the way you go, it's a little bit tense in the southern regions nowadays.
I'll keep that in mind as well. Thank you for the advice.
Oh, well, I have to try and do my job. Kind of saunter back on over to the steps, sit on down, and go, be well, be safe, and tell me how it goes.
I'll give him a nod and I'll say, "You're a decent man. Thank you." And I'll give you next time I come through, perhaps a year from now. I'll be sure to give you the full fill-in. Perhaps I'll even have a souvenir.
Well, then I have something to look forward to stay alive a little longer for. Okay.
Well then, yeah, she'll give him a little wave and then retreat into the crowd.
Understandably so. Is there anywhere else you wanted to go, or
no, I think that's her itinerary for the day.
Fair enough. But though, you know what? Because I'm gonna keep using this, because this is actually now one of my favorite things to do. Before you leave the town square, do me a favor and make a fortune roll. We're gonna need to program that into the sheet.
Okay.
So
hey,
sorry.
Lynn, we got more work for you.
It's okay. That's genuinely like the last thing I think we need to add to the sheet, Lynn. I think everything else is pretty good.
The last time.
I know I said that last time. I'm sorry.
2 successes, 1 crit.
Matt out here sound like Red Digit.
I know. Two
The last
successes,
update, we swear.
It's the last update, we swear. Anyways, that's fair. Okay.
Next
That's
up,
actually-
Empire Calamity.
This is the last update, we swear. Unless.
Unless Empire Calamity is actually the game. Thank you very much. Well, actually, it might be this too, depending on what we see. But we'll get there.
Won't happen.
Swear to God.
If I have
Yeah.
to do the math for that game, I swear to God.
No,
Unless.
unless. But a 2 is actually fine. That's exactly what I was looking for. Because frankly, you guys don't all have crazy high fortunes, anyways. So
got a 4.
yeah, exactly. You got 4. That's actually really good. So no, wow, actually, that's really good. That's perfect. Ballistra, as you leave, you gather yourself and you turn back towards the town square, and it is a bustle with people. I should say there's quite a bit going on, but even through all of it, you're relatively sharp-eyed, and that's why it takes you at such a shock as you turn on your heels to move away and bump in to a relatively well-dressed man. He doesn't even stagger when you bump into him, mind you. In fact, it almost feels like
Smacking into a wall.
no, actually on the opposite, bumping 2 magnets at the same pole together. It feels almost that you didn't hit anything solid, but something just kind of floated you back. It still feels weird. It definitely feels like you knocked into him, but you're perceptive enough, I don't have to make you roll for it, to know that felt a little odd. And the man with the cane looks down at you, Ballistra, and not necessarily with an angry look, but more passively judgmental. You would do well to watch where you are going, young lady.
She's going to look up. Does this man bear any striking markings on him? Any recognizable aspects?
Make a history check for me.
Oh boy.
Oh God, he's a dragon.
Oh god, he's a
Three.
dragon?
2 successes, 1 critical for a total of 4.
Total of 4 is actually totally fine. The man is very well dressed, and there are 2 things that stand out. One of which does not require the history roll. His eyes are very similar to yours. Yeah, they glow with this almost ethereal hue. Though while yours are this amber orange, if I remember correctly, his are more ashen gray. It's this faint glow, faded but still there. The history check, though, is you scan down from his face, and you realize that he's wearing a brooch, or brooch rather. I don't actually know how to pronounce it. Doesn't matter.
Brooch.
He's got a brooch. There we go. He's bound a cloak around his shoulders, and that brooch specifically is the symbol of the old Aryan Empire.
Interesting.
In particular, you'd be able to surmise that it's silver, Aryan silver, very rare and very expensive. And he carries himself with this almost incredibly haunchy demeanor. He hasn't even curled down to look at you. He is looking at you, but he hasn't even craned his neck. He's just kind of staring down at you with his eyes as he holds his cane in front of himself. Bumping into strangers is usually seen as unbecoming.
She's going to assess him, and then, dipping her head slightly, will say, I'm sorry, it's very full here. There are quite a few people around, and I'm not quite so used to such a bustle.
For a traveled woman like yourself, I find that almost hard to believe.
What makes you think I'm traveled?
I have my ways, but I need not be so callous. And he'll kind of look you down again and lean forward a little bit. This man is tall. Ballistra, how tall are you again?
About 5'6".
Yeah, I would say that he's probably about 6'2", 6'3". He's a taller man. And he kind of leans down now finally a little bit on his cane. And as he does, he kind of gives you a little once over, and then he gets towards your ear and goes, plus I am not fully unaware of your additional capabilities, Ballistra.
He's a dragon.
Her eyebrows furrow. That's like, because saying something like that, someone's identity, and insinuating you know about their abilities, while not necessarily bad, can still be seen as a threat. But
As
she's
he
going
finishes, he
she's
finishes
going-
that whisper. He comes back up tall. He's back to this.
Yeah, when he's standing up fully, he will see a very consternated look on Ballistra's face. Her
Good.
chin will tip up a little bit as she'll say, "And I'd be careful about dropping facts like that. That could be seen as a threat."
Oh, never you mind. But I like that look in your eye. And he kind of sidesteps a little bit and gives her a little once over again as you hear the clack of his cane on the marbled cobble streets, and he goes, "Tarry not for long, and we'll need that ferocity, your participation. Please allow the Archon to know that he has my regards." Tap.
And as he's turning to leave, and whose regards am I giving him?
He'll stop and look over his shoulder, and a little crack of a smile will kind of pop out and go, "A friend for now. More later."
I see.
Clack. Clack. And
gonna
through
give
the
him a-
bustle...
Hmm?
No, go on. No, go on.
She's gonna give him an odd look at his back as he's strolling off into the crowd.
Give me a perception roll now.
She's got the odd feeling that she's going to see this man sometime between now and getting to the tournament. 3 successes.
Then this is... So, okay, almost not enough. We needed about 4 or 5, but you got close.
I can fortune die that.
I wouldn't say it's important enough. I wouldn't
Okay.
waste it. Just a little DM thing. I wouldn't. The man moving through the crowd is tall. And there is a hustle and bustle in the center. And while you're watching him walk away, as people kind of pass in front of you, one person, another person, you see him, and then one person cuts in front of you, and he's completely vanished. He's gone.
He's a ghost.
A ghost dragon.
Why did you, I don't know why you assumed he was a dragon, Lynn.
He's a dragon.
Just absolutely horrified.
It's a con.
Regardless, though, like a ghost, he is vanished completely, out of sight, out of mind. He's just not there. And a man of his countenance, you would assume he wouldn't be, but in a blink, he's gone.
The magician stalker.
This entire city is filled with strange people. She's going to turn, but in more in her head than out loud vocally, because she's not a weirdo. She's going to make a mental note that she's probably going to see that man some point, that he is ominous, and that there is some hope that this man is... he seems proud of his Orient heritage. But with that pride can often come some less flattering personal aspects, so she's going to be wary. Because she's fully aware that the kind of people that get as obsessed with her heritage as as that man might be, are not exclusively philanthropists.
Not in the slightest. In fact, of all things, I actually do have some... While it's not done yet, I do actually have some cursory art of this gentleman.
Right. Yeah. That's amazing.
I got some art of some characters here. I will be putting it in Artisans Hall specifically. Pow.
This guy definitely seems like he's somewhere in the upper cabal of the city.
It's another Illus piece, I take it?
Yeah.
that's
It looks very much like an aristocrat of some kind.
Yeah, looks good.
My
So,
man looks like
with that,
if
we
I get
can,
the cloud restrictor.
We can shift the spotlight over as Ballistra is going to return to the tower.
With Ballistra coming back to the tower, and subsequently everybody else assumedly heading back, Yushra was the one who reached out to everyone prior to everyone kind of scattering, I would assume. Or if not, he would have bumped into you to simply give the information that he wanted to have a conversation with the group as a whole before we got on the move. And that is precisely, if no one else has anything to do today, which I believe probably not, is what we will do. It's about, I would say, mid-afternoon by the time you all arrive back in the tower from gathering food and water and going and getting apothecary supplies. Subsequently, also just going around and chatting with people, maybe soaking in a hot spring. Who knows what Solid did later. But what we do know is that about, I'd say, midday to maybe early evening is when you all arrive back in the tower, as you were instructed to be back at least by tonight by the Archon Caspian. And now that you're all here, presumably waiting in the circular area that is your bedrooms and your bedchambers. Yushra, what do you intend to do? Where do you intend for everybody to meet?
Well, I'm assuming we kind of have like a little like social area that's like not like within one of our
Like a
rooms.
lounge.
Yeah,
like a lounge.
there is
lounge or a
a
bar.
lounge. Yeah, that wouldn't with a tower like this that would not be unbecoming. And frankly, you would have passed several, if not from the main walk, you would have been able to come across at least a couple. You know, obviously counting like the public bath and whatnot. um, but even the what's it called? The dining room which you had a parlor just outside. And so that's most likely where you all would have met up. Crackling fire and chairs and tables positioned about, and a relatively nice, almost like a smoke, as that's probably where you all would pick yourselves up. You would be there first, since this was your idea. I hope, you bum.
You should late to his own meeting.
He slept in.
I do want
He's
to know
white
that.
haired, has a face mask, late to his own meetings. What is this, Kakashi? Next, you're gonna tell me you have special eyes.
I do want to know
Oh my
that,
God.
I have special
I got no eyes.
That's true. Anyways, wait, what did you say, Lynn?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I'm so confused. But yeah, no, he'll be there on time. He's probably just like drinking just a random beverage that he was offered or something like that.
You guys probably offered quite a bit.
I'm
Yeah.
just imagining he's looked around for anything vaguely like glass shaped to drink out of. We come in, he's drinking out of a flower vase.
I was handed this delicious drink. Sips from
There's a
flower.
floral aftertaste.
It's a very floral but earthy aftertaste. It's also kind of chunky. Anyway.
How to fuck with the blind guy. Regardless, I would probably say at this point, pretty much everybody would be able to arrive here, and we'll say after about an hour after you've asked everyone to be there is probably when the last person files in. What order you get there, I don't quite mind, but so long as everybody's okay with attending the meeting, you are all welcome to be there. And if you don't want to attend, by all means, speak now or forever hold your peace. Congratulations, you're all attending.
Yeah.
All right.
Saul's currently creating his own Minecraft server. He'll be back in a couple days.
I kick down his door, unplug his computer, and drag him out.
Trying to get all diamond weapon.
It's a funny joke, Sella. We all know you can't afford a computer.
Damn.
That's
Damn.
wild.
Don't gotta do him dirty like that.
He's already dirty.
Shut up.
Not roast.
I'm sorry. I'm giving you
No,
shit.
no,
Let's
no, it's
continue
fine.
with the meeting.
No, not roast.
Just because of that, Ballistra's the last one to arrive because she's been the one walking around town the most.
Wonderful.
I can't really tell. Is that the last person?
Quick head count, and seems so. That's all 8 of us.
Oh, good. Hello,
Unless-
Sala, and
Unless one of us happen to be a doppelganger.
There's an imposter
Nothing
among
can
us.
be this perfection.
evil.
Okay.
Evil. You should be like, I can see. Anyways.
I can see.
Does that make me evil, Yustra?
Yeah. No. Anyways. Hello, Sala, and possible new friends. Before I get into the business of this all, may I know how everyone's been doing today?
Been just fine, my friend.
Yeah, pretty good.
All things considered, this city is quite beautiful.
I would
Thank
agree
you,
with you,
Dan.
but I can't see it.
You should try it sometime. I'm kidding.
You know, actually, I was
Maybe
thinking
if
about...
I did take off the blindfold and he does it, he looks at the ceiling, takes out the blindfold a bit. Yeah, no, still nothing. Anyways.
Does he seriously have no eyes?
Yeah, no, he takes off the blindfold and there's like nothing there.
Atari's just gonna look at him and say, you don't seem to be too hindered by the fact that you're blind. How?
Born
What?
this way.
That's fair.
I think she means
It's
more
easy.
along the lines of how do you manage to navigate around the area?
Yeah.
Lots of training. I would.
Sometimes one just does.
Impressive.
Yeah, not really. Anyways, anyone else have anything to say before I get started on the main question?
No, please. Get to the point.
Go ahead.
Continue. Right ahead, my friend.
Already. So we're about to go on this adventure across this continent. What are we doing?
Well, we're heading to the tournament.
Yes, but
more
but
than
what
that.
are the specifics?
The job, as I understand it, is
No.
escort the ruler of the city, protect the prize, make it to the tournament alive, then win it for the glory of the nation.
No, that's what I understand that. I mean, how are we getting there?
We walk. It is very explicitly in the rules of the tournament. One must walk to Paral.
In
And I
that
thought
case,
that-
which direction?
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. No,
Personally, I don't have much preference one way or the other, though I did get advice today that the southern route may be more dangerous than the northward one. Apparently, there's
Wait,
some
isn't
extra tension.
it also the faster way?
Potentially, yes. From my personal experience, yes, it would potentially be the faster route, as the ground to clear would be much smoother. But it would also potentially lead us through the crossroads city, as well as through some very contentious countries, which may waylay our trip considerably if we get caught up in political tensions, fighting, attempts on our lives, or just anything really.
Would not be
Tara
good
kinda-
for us.
Tara scratches the back of her head and goes, let's not get too caught up with politicians yet.
I kind of my assertion is that the northern route, if this is what you're getting at, Yusha, the northern route is uncomplicated in comparison and relatively unobstructed, but longer, whereas the southern route would be more fraught with issues, but shorter in the direct fashion. So it's whether or not we run into a lot of obstacles that becomes the issue.
that is precisely what I wanted to hear.
But doesn't that make them the same? I mean, if one way is shorter, but it's more dangerous, meaning you'll get caught up in chaos, and the other way is longer but calmer, two people taking each path will arrive relatively at the same time, won't they?
Depends. It's subject to many random factor, though one traveler may not get there at all, or arrive covered in cuts. Who knows?
Would the risk be worth the reward, though, in the end? Because
If we believe
if we
ourselves.
travel
this-
through the more dangerous routes, yes,
Mm.
we're straight to tension. But I suppose if it is the shorter route, would it not be worth it in the end? I mean, taking longer would probably be safer, but you never know.
That's true. I mean, if the shorter path is more dangerous, we could just try and avoid the danger as best we can. Maybe hide, disguise
We are-
ourselves or use some kind of cunning strategy.
Disguising is going to be difficult with this group of interesting individuals. We are a group of 9 people bound to be on foot, lest we break the tournament's rules. We don't know what we're going to have to cut along with us in order to survive the journey.
Oh, speak for yourself. I think I'm very low key.
I'm blind, and I can see that you're not.
Alright, if you'll excuse the turn of phrase, bullshit.
I take no offense.
Looking back briefly, I did speak to a bartender, and I have let slip my name, but it's just one bartender. I doubt everyone in the city will know who we are by now, at least name-wise.
Faye is going to speak from beside Tara. She's looking at her feet. And she'll say, "There's no reason for us to go south, is there? I mean, they're not going to start the tournament without us, and there's no reason for us to take the risk, especially with someone else tagging along with us that we may have to protect."
Considering the nature of the tournament, we're not sure if they would start the tournament without us. They very well might. They set a very specific deadline, and if we're not there, we may default.
So,
Especially considering the clandestine nature of this tournament.
Sala, I need a frame of reference here. Are these nations as fickle as Vizran peoples, or are they more?
That's a good question. Out of character, would Sala know if these nations are...
It depends
Fickle?
on how long and how far and what direction Salah has traveled in. If he's traveled more southern, they're very, very much like Vera. They're stuck in their ways to a fault. The northern regions all themselves are a bit scattered, and to some extent you could compare them to Vizran tribes, but the southern way specifically is the hard-headed, why would we change something that isn't broken type of people. And in that regard, yes.
Tell you
If
what,
I'm-
we can go
if
with a
I'm-
bit of a to give a bit of a compromise. Could we say that Sala has probably heard, like, hearsay about both? He's heard about how the North is very scattered and chaotic, but how the South is very, like, strictly traditionalist.
I'm more than fine with that. That's totally fine.
Okay.
I don't. Considering how long Sal has been here, I don't believe he'd be as well traveled as Ballistra is right now. So yeah, no, that makes sense.
If I'm going to cast my vote right here and right now, I vote we take the northward path. It may require a bit longer travel overall, but the overall danger we stand to face is, I would say, at most in Felima, and perhaps crossing the wide expanse of Montesini. I have made the crossing from Costanosa to Calavantes and passed through the crossroads city. And as a lone woman traveling, to say it was perilous would be to put it quite precise. Costanosa itself is rough, but there is a intersection point between Costanosa, Trevina, and Villamira, right before Calavantes, and you get into the northern territories. Calavantes and its crossroads city is, to put it bluntly, a complete rogue nation. It is practically lawless. On the crossing from Costanosa going northwards, I had to dash either through over Villamira or Trevina's territories, and waiting at the borders were teams of slave catchers and opportunists looking to predate on those who were fleeing their positions as indentured servants, or those who were free roamers who they were looking to involuntarily introduce into the trade. We will more than likely, at the very least at that stop, be faced with opposition and peril, and we can either try and make a mad dash through it, which in a group this large is going to be considerably more difficult than a single woman running at top speed, or we fight through it, and in which case we fight against whatever either nation's slave takers can bring to bear. Perhaps they'll retreat at the first sign of an entire group of Empyreans. Perhaps they won't, and they'll see much money to be made. My vote is firmly against the southern path, because I know some of the dangers that you can run into. And passing through Calavantes, of all places, by that point, we'll probably be fairly identifiable and have had rumors about us spread just from traveling that way. There will be more than a few people looking to potentially bump us off or make money off of us.
Now, hold on, hang on. Hold your horses. No pun intended. Before we start casting votes, shouldn't we ask the person who is from Peral? Looks at Charlotte. What path would you recommend?
Charlotte, hello. Lynn.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh no.
God damn it.
Look at Charlotte. Actually, I know. I took a boat.
I took a carriage and a boat. Peasant.
What? She's so cunty.
She's cunty. Damn.
So, I don't know. I am a water person.
What? Oh, you came here through water. Well, you know what? Let's put it like this. Say we consider the safer path. We could just try and, considering that it's safe, just go as fast as possible. Maybe even make our own shortcut. I'm pretty good at forming the soil into whatever I want it to, so we could use that to our advantage, maybe speed things up, make things easier to traverse. Just get there as fast as possible.
If anything, that would become most useful in the northern route, because we'll see a lot of terrain issues there. My primary issue with the south route is the people we will meet.
Give me
Yeah.
one second. So the slavers are the main concern, right?
Yeah, just
Slavers
generally-
and crossing through, and crossing through dangerous territory.
Yeah, and those
Yeah.
slavers would be associated with Peral or no?
No.
Yes, and a lot of slavers are independent, though the southern slavers specifically oftentimes do align themselves with Vilgena and those surrounding territories, but it wouldn't be uncommon for a Parali slave catcher to swing on down to make a quick buck, but it's mostly an independent gig.
And they don't give a shit about Peral, do they?
They care about the money they can make off of them, usually.
And you know how Charlotte is, right?
Yes.
She would not travel without her things.
They'd probably try and rob you, yeah?
No. We can go south.
I don't want my things taken.
No, the south was the part with the people who would try and make a quick buck, right?
Yeah, those are the ones who would try and make you all
Attack us,
slaves.
rob us, attack us, rob us, potentially imprison us. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, we're going south.
That's fair.
Going
Wait.
south or going north?
That is a terrible
Wait, south is the
justification.
safe path?
No.
South is the
South is
dangerous path.
dangerous path.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait.
south-
If you don't
the
want to
southern-
get robbed, why are you going towards the robbers?
She's
The-
looking
the
to
southern-
prove-
the
Who said
southern
they didn't want
path-
to get robbed?
The southern path is filled with robbers and slavers. Let's go there.
So I've read a
it's-
book about this really hot robber, and I say we go south.
Keep your
What?
penny dreadfuls to yourself.
Oh no, she's a book talk girl.
No, please, no.
So
No, but like I wouldn't.
Mm.
I personally wouldn't worry about the slavers, even if they would want to make a quick buck. Charlotte would argue that for them, it would be more worthwhile for them to just leave her alone, so she could just give them more money. They
And
have
you're-
more to
Oh.
earn when she actually gives them the money out of her volition than selling.
and you're
Do you
100%
have that much money, though? Like,
I
on
don't.
you?
What
To-
says
to
they
pay
can't
for
just keep
all
you
of
for
us?
ransom?
Well, you see.
I vote we go north.
Thank
So
you.
all this talk of slavers is, I don't think would be good at all for us. I vote north as well.
Yeah.
I
Contrary to
say
popular
we go
belief,
the
I'm not a
opposite.
fan of violence.
I love
Oh,
that
come
idea.
on.
I love the idea that Charlotte's like, yeah, I'm gonna give them money and they'll keep me alive. And then she's like, bound in irons is like, I thought that they'd like my money. Like,
They love your money. That's why they're keeping
they're
you.
they're ransoming you. Anyways, yeah,
Oh,
carry on,
come
carry on.
You are all such sticks in the mud.
I'm
But
sorry.
it worked,
I want to
didn't
keep
it?
my violence for the tournament. Thank you very much.
At least now we're all on one page. Okay, we're going north.
Well, since
Yes.
this, I'd like to think that we are somewhat democratic. What say the remainder?
If it were just me, I'd say go south and kill as many of those bastards as possible. But we're speaking about the safety of an ambassador here. I vote north.
I say we go the quicker path. I can keep you all alive.
Let's vote for South.
Are you keeping track of the vote? Because I don't know what it's at right now.
But
Okay.
I'm
I don't know.
keeping track.
Currently, it's mostly a northern vote.
Yeah,
With
mostly
TVs
north.
What else?
Yeah, even Charlotte voted north.
Yeah, even Charlotte was like, "That's a good point. I don't want to get kidnapped."
I don't
Yeah.
want to get kidnapped. They probably don't have 5-star luxury hotels.
Yeah, that's five for north, one for south. Unless
Faye?
Roy Faye comes out of nowhere and votes for south.
I want to kill as many of those little bastards. Like total 180.
But also, I'd imagine that Charlotte's like playing it off like, yeah, see, now that I told you my point of view, you're now voting for the right option. Also, she's still wearing that villager girl outfit.
Oh God.
I was about to say she's still wearing her villager girl.
She
She's
looks-
cosplaying as a peasant.
The old lady said,
It's
so like a-
quaint.
Look at me, I'm one of the poor.
I'm one of the. It's like those YouTubers that's like, I only have $10 to spend in a day when they're like fucking millionaires.
Mm.
And they're like,
I mean-
how do I do this?
So anyway,
I mean, French nobility literally cosplayed as poor people.
That's true. But yeah, no. What about Rufay? What are we feeling, Faye? How is she taking it?
everybody looks at Faye.
Oh, she already said her bit, so she's just gonna look at the floor and not say anything else.
Fair enough.
Okay.
You got a weird fetish looking at Tara's feet.
Jesus. Just gonna, if Tara says that, I'm just fucking okay now. Anyway,
I'm making a joke because she said she was looking at her feet,
Yeah.
but not her feet, her feet. You know what I mean? It's a weird, stupid joke.
Anyway,
Oh, wait, did Yushra and Sala vote?
Solid.
Yeah, I vote north.
you sure hasn't voted yet.
You should vote.
I go with the flow.
What? That's not the point of this meeting. We have to decide. We have to make a decision.
Yes.
it's
Democracy.
a democratic instance.
And my decision is whoever has the highest vote.
I love
Seems
that
like
you
the,
called a meeting to have a democratic vote, only to say I'll vote whoever's winning.
Yeah, whoever's winning, I'll vote. Yeah.
No, Yusra. You can't be a non-partisan in this democratic meeting.
Well, regardless, I think everyone voted north except for G-Day and
For
Cassius.
G-Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no. Cassius also voted.
Oh,
Cassius voted north. He would have voted south if it was for like we were actually like gung ho about killing
Right.
slavers.
So it sounds like we're going north.
Maybe if we do something else on the trip north, he can have another topic of conversation to bring up to break the ice.
Yeah. How do you feel about killing slaves? I'm killing slavers. Like,
Slip of the tongue there, Frey.
Was that like a Freudian slip or something?
Don't worry about what you guys are going to be killing. Anyway,
It's a good thing we're not going through Nostra.
I'm hold on, quickly changing the map real quick. I'm changing country.
Oh, you're just gonna flip it.
Yeah, just gonna flip it. Yeah.
So anyway,
Evil,
it seems like it's been decided.
evil empire be like, the north sounds dangerous.
The North sounds dangerous. They don't kill slaves.
Jesus
Jesus Christ.
what a great way to kick off. So, just Ballista is going to look towards you, and say, "So, what's your verdict?"
Well, majority of you said north, so we're going north.
What a shame.
What should be?
More
What
time.
the Guanjide, you cut out?
Oh, I cut out?
Yeah. I heard what a shame, more time, and then it cut out.
Yeah, no, it's good enough.
More time.
The rest just trails off underneath his breath.
Well, with that decided, once that is all said and done, there's a knock at the parlor door. Just a nice little rap. Not necessarily waiting to come in, but just more of an alert as the door turns and opens as Caspian steps through. Oh,
We hear a rap at the door. Hey, my name is Caspian. I'm here to say.
stop!
Rap tap. Rap tap.
The gentlefolk, my palms are sweaty, my knees are weak, arms are heavy.
They're different from us. They're different from us.
They're different
No,
from us.
no, keep that out.
No.
No, I think I'm glad I made that reference.
Catch up. I hate you. Stop. Anyway, Caspian does pass through the door. He goes, I hope I'm not interrupting of something of importance, as he kind of trails along in. But I was listening through the door anyway, so.
Well, and you're quite sneaky.
This is my house.
You know, it's
What?
fair. You know, yeah, that's fair.
Are you just gonna be spying on us all the time?
No, you have rooms. But, well, this is my parlor. I was coming and I saw you all walking in, and I didn't want to interrupt, but I was curious.
That's fine. That's fine at any rate. The conversation, very honestly, should have involved you as well.
It's okay. I was finishing up some information with a benefactor anyways, so it was of little consequence to me.
Speaking
with
of
who?
which, just before that reminds me, a gentleman I met today, very genteel looking, cane, Aryan silver pin on his lapel. He says he sends his regards. He's very dodgy about
and-
giving me his name.
Yeah, at that point, Caspian will kind of, and not necessarily frown, but he'll grimace a little bit. Yes, well, that's who I was wrapping up business with. So, I am unsurprised that you have met him. He took interest in, well, all of you.
Who is he?
Oh, the professor.
Yes.
Well, indeed.
It's an appellation, not a name.
Yes. I know. He was very unbecoming on many details. He approached himself as a scientist, at least when I first met him, and he came to us when we were in crisis. After Nostra had bailed out of our side in the tournament very abruptly, we did not have much time to decide on, well, much of anything with competitors. It takes a very long time to take stock of manifestation users and Empyreans alike, especially now. At this point, he'll step in and he'll kind of look over his shoulder, and as he steps into the parlor, he closes the door, and he reaches into his pocket and he folds up a piece of paper before he slides it in between the cracks of the door. The professor was helpful. He gave me the name, said that he could assist us for a potential asset later, a favor, but he did not give a name.
Mysterious benefactor, then.
It would seem that way. He said he knew of 2 girls from the northern regions who would participate, that owed him a favor, and, well, he followed up and said he was aware of 2 more travelers who had come in to the fray from Visra, which is where we found you all so quickly.
That cryptid.
I love that. I love that for so much.
That's what he is.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. Faye and I know him. He helped us both in different ways, but just on the premise that we would both participate in this tournament as payback for him helping us.
Asking in a favor, then.
Yeah, but we don't know his name either. I just call him a cryptid because he's weird.
That he is. I can give you that much. But yes, that sounds about correct. He, well, I at the very least, had already had some eyes on the rest of you, but I didn't have nearly enough to participate properly in this tournament. Though the hard limit is, well, 8. I would struggle to say that, I mean no disrespect, that I don't believe any single one of you could single-handedly walk into the tournament and clean up house. So, having a team is, well, more beneficial, and he offered help. And if all he's going to do is pull in favor for something simple like assisting in the tournament, then maybe my deal as the devil isn't so bad.
Whatever the case, he seems to be working towards some larger objective. I wouldn't discount his motivations quite yet.
Neither would I. Neither would I. He is very odd. But so long as he's brought us all together, we have some benefit here. I believe he just left, which is probably where you bumped into him, Ballistra.
I bumped into him on the way back from the town circle. Not quite a square.
Yes, that was a strange design choice, but not my decision.
Now, as you've seemingly heard, we intend to take the northern route. I vouched very strongly for it. I personally experienced some of the dangers coming through if nothing else, the crossing to Calavantes.
Well, I can't deny that that's a very sound idea. Not only would be having to contend with the usual rabble of the southern borders and cutting through Calavantes, now we have to deal with 2 other teams who are moving to the south, if not 3, from what I've heard.
And I must also say, if they have not left already, there's the team from Nostra who will likely be taking that path.
Yes, I was counting them amongst that.
I would imagine a group of Nostran Imperians would take any chance to kill a group of slavers that would come after them.
Well, not just slavers, I fear.
No?
It is not uncommon for teams to kill each other on their way, though it's not necessarily... How do I put this? It's not necessarily something that is spoken about very highly. There has been several years before my time, at the very least, I participated in the tournament, but my predecessor, about 2 generations prior, had come in. And while there were only 7 of them at the time, they weren't even able to establish a full team. We lost that year because on the way we took a southern path, and the Imperians from Viljana cut them off at the crossroads and killed 4 of them. It's not unheard of. It's why the practice of keeping yourself a little bit more hushed has become so prevalent in these trying years. And if Nostra is as gung-ho about offering, I would not put it past our old allies to do something so brash, even to us. But, if I am to be completely frank with you all, the North is not without its own dangers. Granted, I would still pick that path, but I want to give you though it is not nearly as dangerous, I would say, there have been reports coming from Damaskura and the Sini region that those free men are well, for lack of a better term, there is some concern. They have been raiding borders, attacking places like Ulmiro. for what they have. And while I would say that they may not be as pressing as slavers, it's still a bandit clan and it's something to keep an eye on.
So either way, we're probably going to come across trouble, yeah?
That is the case. Though, I would still say the north is not right without the danger. It's nowhere near as rife as it is without the southern borders, so I believe the north is a good choice. Though I leave it up to you all, as hell, I'm not what I used to be.
And what is the likelihood that it's probably gone out now that we're the group?
Can you rephrase that question? I did not understand what you mean.
How likely is it that like people know that we're the group of contestants?
Okay.
Do you think they have spies? Anything like that?
Oh, most certainly. And especially with you all and your entrance yesterday. As bombastic as it was, and frankly, it's brought about profits. There's been quite a lot of bustle around the main square now. As important as it is, there is something to keep in mind, at the very least, that it did draw attention. Do I believe it drew attention all the way out to the northern and southern borders? Perhaps not yet, but it's certainly a good way to make an impression. And I don't believe that they'll be able to get it to everybody, but there are always ears, there are always eyes, and where there are those, there is information to be shared. So, I can't guarantee that someone may not have learned about you already, but that remains to be seen. I don't know what the Freemen will do with you or not. I don't know what the southern border is at Villagena and, Nostra and whoever else may be competing. We've gained news that there's a third team on their way as well. We don't know who, though. I digress.
Entire third team, but no idea as what their allegiance are?
That's relatively normal. It's actually rather uncommon to find more than the Grand States competing, and when Nostra came out and proudly proclaimed that they would be participating in the tournament, well, that was unorthodox. Normally, allegiances aren't declared until you arrive in Pirol and begin to participate in the tournament. Nostra is just brash, is a good way to put it. Brash.
Curious.
Well, when you stake the freedom of your entire nation on a victory, it helps to be a little brash, I suppose. But no, we are unaware of the third team competing. We simply know that they are moving in, and we don't know from where. That's a little intel that we've garnered from Nostra, of all things.
We're aware of the rules of the tournament, right? Like no killing, or at least no intentional killing, stuff like that.
No, actually, funny enough, that's not been brought to you yet.
Okay.
Though that was something I was going to bring up with Caspian, funny enough.
Okay.
I guess now is as good a time as any. Though generally the tournament is relatively straightforward, the rules are changing every year. They always give it a gimmick to keep it interesting, is what they say. We've had triple battles, we've had all-out battles with entire teams, we've had the simple 1v1s to the death, and we won't entirely know. But from what I've gathered, at the very least, you won't be killing each other. And that's what makes it even more appealing for people like Nostrans to get the jump on their competition. It's what makes it so appealing to many people. Get out some of that aggression.
So, but let's say we were to have an altercation. Would that be, and we were to accidentally kill them on the road? Would that be grounds for disqualification, or what would happen?
Nobody would know what happened to them, and even if they did, it was an unfortunate accident and it wasn't sanctioned. There is no harm that will come to you, which is precisely why we keep ourselves quiet.
Good to know. Good to know.
With that in mind, Caspian kind of scratches his face. He's clean-shaven, well-kempt man as he goes. If I'm to be honest with you, there is a lot riding on the tournament this year for all of us. I don't believe I need to say how important it is, but at least to reaffirm, I believe I should. Actually, Alanost is doing very well. We have been for a very long time. We were blessed in some strange cosmic way that when the Aryan Empire fell, we grew. And we grew exponentially, and we grew very fast. Granted, that was hundreds of years ago by this point. But the other grand states look at us with discontent. And as more begin to flock to our ideals, as our culture spreads and we take up a large territory of allied nations, that has fostered some ill tidings with the other two grand states. Now, I know not what they offer, nor would I even begin to assume. In fact, one year, Piral simply offered a giant Pirali statue of their current leader as one of their offerings, which we all took great pleasure in watching the Viljanen victors of that year tear it down and beat it. But I bring this up because there has been some rising tensions. Nostra breaking away, hearing tell that yet another city-state has joined independently. This tournament is going to be one of the more strange affairs that we've seen. Now, mysterious benefactors aside, I struggle to believe that it's going to be easy, and at the very least, now, with a bandit tribe cropping up in the northern regions, slavers running amok in the south, the outcome of this tournament is very important. Very much so that I would go so far to say is it's one of the most important tournaments we've had in many years. We need a victory to secure Nostra back with us. I lament to admit that much of our fighting force, especially on the borders, has been weakened recently in the southern borders itself. The north tends to take care of itself, and they handle their own problems, but with Viljana on our borders trying to push their ideals, with Villamori and Villamira right there, and even some reports of, well, attacks on those borders, we need to be unified now more than ever, and if we lose Viljana, that could be very detrimental to the future of Alanost as a whole. And I need not express how much I care for this city and for our ideals that have spread. Now, don't get me wrong, I do agree with much of what Nostra does, albeit they may be a little brazen in their ideals. I take no love for slavers or slavery in any case. But if Viljana wins, that bodes very ill for us. If Piral wins, that could bode very ill for us. And if Nostra wins, well, as horrible as it is to say, I would rather subject all of those people to slavery once again in some capacity than allow them to victory. If they were to win, it could be all-out war. And I lament what could come of that. Now, the reason I say this is that should you all be victorious, the state of Alanost would acquire all of Nostra's people as slaves. We don't generally do that here. Which at least secures these people in their freedoms and will potentially help affirm their beliefs. It may be underhanded and slimy, but to give these people their freedom that they were already going to have under our care would be a very good look for us.
No pressure, eh?
Well, in truth, tons of pressure. I put this on you now so you have time to bear the weight of it along our journey. Perhaps it will get a little easier.
One can hope.
Here I was, just hoping I could sharpen my skills in the ring of battle, but here I am also being declared as a political tool. Not what I was hoping for, but about what I was expecting.
Sadly, this is what is very common. When I participated nearly 20 years ago, I met with the same thing with my team. We were given, well, very nearly the same spiel, albeit it wasn't nearly as pressing as it was now.
Sala, what did you get me into?
I
I mean,
hate
Very
politics.
good question.
I said I wasn't quite. It was about what I expected, even if I wasn't happy. We volunteered ourselves, or been asked to volunteer for what is essentially a political matter. If you get involved with the workings of a country, then you best be prepared to be pulled into politics, I suppose.
Yes, that is the unfortunate truth of it.
Part and parcel, I suppose.
Unfortunately so. But that leads me to my final business. Probably the most important one. Is the reason why I'm accompanying you all. Rather than traveling with a large caravan of goods and a fleet of soldiers. The winnings. For Elenost, at the very least. And Caspian will... He's wearing more of a commander's outfit, I should say. The double-breasted jacket, he looks very official. And I mention this as he begins to unbutton one side of said jacket, just to reveal about the upper neck of his collarbone.
Oh, please, don't tell me you're the prize.
No, I'm not pretty enough for that anymore.
All right.
Oh, let me tell you. Actually, never mind. I won't tell you.
I'd
Eyebrow
rather you
raised.
don't.
Eyebrow raised.
Regardless, and as he pulls open his collar to reveal just that upper part of his sternum, there's a few pieces of paper inlaid into his skin. And he gives a little pat. He goes, I'm keeping the winnings right here.
What are they?
He kind of pauses for a minute. Kind of clicks back and forth. You can give a persuasion check to see if he'll do it, if anybody has that.
I think we technically all have it.
Well, you all have it, but if you have some ranks in it is the real question. If you think you can persuade him, I'll say the DC's 5.
I'll try.
Is there a help action?
No, but you can. Well, there probably should be, huh?
Hey, Lynn, more things on the thing.
Nah,
We don't need that on the sheet.
Yeah, we don't need that on the sheet. If anything,
know.
we could probably honestly make it like you give up one of your fortune dice to allow them to re-roll something.
Yeah,
like
I got
that.
a 5.
I
Oh,
also got a 5.
wonderful.
No. Well,
There's a
Well,
police
you-
off the side going like, I'd like to know what I'm risking my life to protect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair, I suppose.
If I'm risking my life for some middle-aged guy, I'd rather not.
Wow. That's very superficial, Tara. Shame on you.
What?
I'll do it.
No, that's fair enough, I suppose. I can't judge you too harshly for something like that. Nevertheless, and there's a little faint blue glow that comes over Caspian for a moment as he traces it down, as that glow goes from a silhouette to just a little coating on his right hand. And as he runs it across his chest with just a finger, the paper falls out and reveals a sealed letter. He holds it up, and then, with a little half smile, it goes, "Buried treasure."
Interesting. So just a
You-
lot of riches.
More than riches, I would say. It is no secret that we have... Well, for lack of a better term, it is no secret that we have some affiliations with the old Aryan Empire. We always have. Even before it fell, Alanost was a close ally of them. In fact, it was usually referred to as, well, a second, the Collegian area for a long time. But with the scholars in Crestino, there came quite a bit of controversy over some things, and one of them is the hoarding of artifacts from the Aryan Empire. It's hard to get in, and by hard to get in, I mean damn near impossible. But as he kind of he doesn't really march, but he kind of trails and walks over to the coffee table in the parlor as he just kind of tosses the letter down. Finding Aryan riches is difficult, and one of the only places you may be able to find it is in Arya Praxona, and I need not tell some of you how dangerous a place like that is, a forest filled with mutated beasts.
I live right beside it, and it's
Then you would know better than anyone what lurks around.
Yes, Donna, we heard it. Remember the roar.
Oh yes, no, very, very pleasant creature. Yes.
Very
Yes.
pleasant creature.
Yes, I named him Fluffy. Anyways, continue.
Yes, well. The reason why this is important is simply because, at the very least, you don't come across things like this very often. In fact, it's damn near impossible to come across something like this, but for those of you who know your Tarshiki history, you may be aware of their tumultuous past. Though it is undocumented totally, we've been able to make out something, at the very least. An old story about an Aryan emperor who was bringing riches to Tarshik, and, well, in doing so, he angered the new emperor, who attempted to assassinate him. Now, the story goes, at the very least, that in this sad lapse in judgment, the Aryan Emperor turned into a giant flaming man and burned down majority of their capital. And as he fled to the sea, their riches sank with them as they made it back to the country. For many years, we assumed that this was rumor and hearsay. And in truth, it probably was. Nobody knew if it was true. Though recently, a friend of ours from Pirol had made their way up north. And along the way of the Northern Passage, it was discovered that there was a sunken vessel of Aryan origin just off the north of Glorian, up to our northern borders. Well, we can't say for certain. We believe that this is actually that sunken ship of riches. A trove of Aryan artifacts sits at the bottom of the sea. We don't know what could be in there. But one thing that we do know, at the very least, this is a safe bet. The location of this sunken Aryan vessel may yield some very interesting things for both collectors and for those who are wishing to sell it. And if there's nothing in there, we lose nothing.
I understand now why you said it might be an all-out war. The independence of Nostra included whatever country wins this is going to be attempting to capitalize on this. I don't imagine
Indeed.
many people can resist the allure of Aryan artifacts.
I'm sure there are some who wouldn't care. I wouldn't doubt that there would be some for people like Pirali, who already are rife with riches, would simply use them as a status symbol. But if Emperor Renetan's riches are sunk to the bottom of this sea, and we have found it, we don't know what it could be. It could be a fleet of audience silver. It could be simple riches of audience sil, their currency. It could be worth functionally nothing. Or it could be something more mundane and truth. It could have absolutely nothing there to begin with. But the idea of what it represents is enough. And if a smaller nation, like Nostra, were to get a hold of it, that could give them the edge they need to march on Viljana as they've wanted to decades.
Oh, yeah. Politics, riches, important people doing useless things. Yeah, I'd just say we go and get this over with.
Quite right. I completely agree. Also, it keeps the skin off my bones if we lose.
So wait, you're saying you're gonna throw us under the bus if we lose?
No! I'm saying that there's a good chance that there may be nothing at the bottom of the sea, and trying to reclaim it may just be a waste of time. But if we win, well, then we can waste our time. And if we lose, we allow them to go and waste their time in the Northern Sea trying to fish out artifacts. Regardless if we win or lose, we still win.
But we don't want Nostra to be completely enslaved, yes?
Well, no, of course. In truth, Nostra has been one of our staunchest allies for many years. But a Nostran victory is not to be perceived as good, I should say.
Other than the Nostrans, who else is gonna play dirty in this?
The other two grand nations, and then
And one more of which we do not know their origin.
I knew it. Sistania's coming back for round 2. I knew it.
Yeah. But that's enough blabbering about this. You all know what you're fighting for. And a trove of ancient Aryan artifacts will set you up for life. Though technically it would be ours, I would see no reason not to hand over something like this to a majority of you. Though we would probably keep some of the records or something like that. Whatever ended up surviving sitting for several.
I certainly have an interest in a trove of Aryan artifacts, if nothing for the scholastic value.
Nice. I'm not surprised you would say that, Ballista. It was actually... Well, it was part of the reason that we even put you on our team in the first place, as you were the one who I was...
Wait, you're cutting out?
Oh, I'm sorry. I said, well, it's part of the reason we put you on our team in the first place, Ballista. You were one of the people who I had an eye on even before Nostra turned themselves away.
I'm flattered?
Well, it was some of the Crestinian monks told me about your curiosity at the very least, and how you had already read most books in their small little library.
Yes. She actually kind of turns her face down a little bit at this. As the library section on old Aryan texts is woefully small.
Many things are.
I have no interest in the Aryan riches, so you can have all that.
I don't care about the riches. I don't intend to make money off of it. I wish to learn about my people's past.
A noble goal in truth.
I don't want the money. I don't want to know about your people's past. I'd say this is a win for you.
All things considered, yes. If you can find a different wish you may or request you wish to make at the end of the tournament, then that's no skin off my nose.
Indeed, you would all be granted a favor of some kind. Something that, at the end of the day, will be granted and accepted by all of the states in Kalan. It's why we have people of such... It'll look over to G-Day. Tumultuous background.
A favor, huh?
A favor from the 3 grand states and whoever else would be there, and whatever that favor is would be accepted by the rest of the nations. It's a good way to start a new life for some. It was how I started mine.
Well, why don't you just say so? I favor that over the riches. When do we head out?
Tomorrow at dawn.
We
set north. We set up north then. The Damastura, if I remember correctly. The pathing isn't... Oh, yeah, go on.
Faye will look up at Caspian and fidget a little with her hands when everyone looks at her when she speaks. she will say, "Do we know where the bandit reports are in Damastura and Ulmiro? If we have a map, we could form a route that may work better in our favor so that the northern route is also a little more safe."
That's not a bad idea, Rufe. And
I second this idea.
he'll make his way over, and on the wall of the parlor is a map of Kalan specifically. He just kind of pulls it off the wall. Like he takes the framed picture off the wall, picks up the letter, the sealed letter, and puts it back in his chest as he just sets the framed picture down. And he goes, "Okay, yes. Well, we've heard that they have been cutting through Damastura and Ulmiro, and there are some reports that they even hinge on the southern borders of Enyani. They seem to be floating around, absolutely. Funny enough, it's actually not anyone. There are very few reports in Damastura that they are sitting, but it seems as though they like to set up near the borders of... and he'll kind of point. Felimo and Gestiros are two that they seem to be floating by. Now, the path you may take, I leave up to you entirely, but it seems as though that they are at least numerous enough that there have been reports of them from Damascura, and though they're not in Damascura, they seem to be stuck at the borders of Ulmiro. If you cut to Enyani, there's a good chance you may miss them. We haven't heard too many reports. The only reason we know so much about them is that Damastura reports to us about updates on the borders of Ulmiro. They have a very close trade agreement, and because of this, they tend to defend each other. I would say the safest bet, if we were to go around, would be to cut to Damastura and potentially to... I'll pause for a minute. You could take the northern path to Enyani, potentially go near Helena, cut to Sinicaro, if you care to brave that place. And
Well, now you
Just
have
shut
my
it.
answer. What's going on in Sinicaro?
Sinicaro is strange.
More strange than Bizra or Linama.
No,
Well, I'm intrigued as well. I'm always keen to learn about strange places here in the Empire, or here in Kalan.
Sinicaro was the ancient capital of Kalan. Though Sinicaro no longer is in power, they were the first people established in our nation, and there is old reverence there. It's a shadow of its former self. In truth, Piral and Viljena took over, and in time, the worship of the Elder Grove in Crestino fell out of favor. But many of the old legends that you hear about, the Weeping Mountains of Montesini and the Sini man who guides lost travelers to the Sini Mountains. I think I said Montesini, actually. I meant Villamori when I said the Weeping Mountains. Even things as the birth of the Relti Fire Lake, they were birthed from the old legends of Caro. Well, for lack of a better term, we believe it's haunted. It's commonly believed as such. And people wander into the forests and they come out 10 years later in a blink of an eye, and there are spines of Calesian pearl that suppress manifestation users. It's just not a place that I tend to want to go through. But it would probably be one of the safest paths, at least if you wanted to avoid the bandits.
There's a potential death threat if we get caught out and Well, I've never myself been exposed to Collision Pearl. I've heard some things about how it works and how, as you said, it renders Empyreans powerless. I don't much fancy that.
From what I can tell you, Sinacaro has been left on its own for a very long time. The ruins of the old kingdom of Sinacaro are there, and, well, much of the old ghosts linger there as well, as what they say. Even larger nations like Pirol will not attempt to interfere with Sinacaro, even though they are the smallest nation now. I doubt you would be attacked. And if you were, well, at the very least, you would be on even footing with Empyreans or otherwise. It's an idea. Not one that I necessarily recommend for positions, but it's a safe path. If you don't give in to the, ghost stories.
Frankly, I think that sounds quite amusing.
Well, you lived in Linamar, and I am not shocked to hear that.
I would worry somewhat about taking such a circumspect route.
Indeed, that would take, and frankly, it would take more time. Cutting around the back of the Sini Mountains would actually probably stretch us very thin. We would probably get there in about 6 months, meaning we would get there right at the start of the tournament. Frankly,
A little time to rest.
Indeed, though, could always
potentially still dodging much danger. I will admit that.
Well, on top of that, you could always cut to the Sini Mountains if you wanted to. Though, that has its own perils. It would be a little bit faster. Going over the mountain and making your way out through Pirol. Then again, we do have time to decide. Damasturul will take us roughly a few weeks to get through, if we're moving on foot, and should we not encounter any opposition, we could potentially decide there. It doesn't have to be decided on now. We don't know what we're getting into when we get out there. So, perhaps cutting a straight path across to Damastura, cutting to Ulmiro, and making our way to Piral would be the safest route, and we may not encounter anything. Or perhaps the bandits have encroached so difficultly on Ulmiro that now it's a completely free state, and we have no idea. We haven't heard much out of them.
Before we march, do we know if any of these bandits have a manifestation?
Well, we don't know much about them at all, frankly, but anyone who's fighting for a cause that they believe in so fervently, you will often find an Empyrean or two in there. They are rare, of course, but one does not get as powerful enough to suppress the borders of a state without a little bit of help.
I would point to either some support from a larger power, such as a bordering state. Perhaps they wish to see the trade and the power of a neighboring state suppressed so that they might thrive. Or yes, it might be a group of especially fervent believers rallying behind an Empyrean. Suppose we'll be able to make our best judgment once we get there.
That is indeed the hope, at the very least. For now, we have our evening, and it seems as though you've already prepared yourselves. So, if we set off at dawn, you are welcome to, and it'll kind of just look at the framed picture. And you're welcome to take that. We can use it on our trip.
A picture, like a frame, like.
Well, yeah,
The map.
Yeah, the map. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Ballista will start.
I thought it was a portrait of Caspian. It's like
Yeah, a portrait of himself. He's got he's naked except for a towel over his bottom half, and he's got a rose in his mouth.
No, that's
he gives us an autographed picture of himself.
you can keep that if you
Ballista
want.
is already flipping the frame over and unlatching the back of it, taking the backboard out.
Yeah, what was the whole Iris looking for men picture that Lynn?
Oh my god,
yeah,
we were
you
just
could be
talking
a
about
Grishiki
that.
man.
Yeah, it was
The Grishiki man. You too could be a Grishiki man, and it was a big tittied
if
Hulk
you
Hogan.
find us, yeah,
If
and it was
you find
it was
us.
Hilarious.
Caldem, yeah, it was
It was
Caldem with
Caladan,
yeah, Rule 63.
There was two versions. There was the male
And-
and the female.
That was the
Yeah,
male.
and the
female.
middle was based on Hulk Hogan.
It was so funny. I remember when Lynn made that. We'll have to find that. I have to find that again. That's such a good
the whole-
image.
the whole-
We'll edit
We
that
have to
in.
post it so
The
Rin
Yeah.
picture
can-
the picture itself out of context is always funny to me whenever I see it in my photos.
We'll have to edit that in and post. Just slide the
Yes.
picture and freeze it. Just right there. There it is. Look at how beautiful that is.
Just rises into frame.
Oh man, it's so good.
Dun,
yeah, like
dun,
2001
dun,
with the fucking monolith.
But yeah, I just imagine he brought a portrait of himself. It's like it'll come up great to you.
This will come of great use.
Use it as a bartering
just show
chip
them-
for when you cross the border.
Show them a picture. Show them a picture of my rippling abs. They will all
My
bow
rippling
down before you.
No, see that picture of him in a bath towel is on the other side.
Oh god, it's when I open up the backboard and suddenly there's just him smiling back at me.
Don't look at that.
Half-clothed, laying on his like supine. He's just like, okay.
I found it.
Sprawled out on a
Did
couch.
you find it with the graffiti on it?
Oh, hold on.
Where it goes, yeah, you could be a
This one?
real man too if you find us. Does it say that?
I have the picture, but I'm gonna have to dig through my photos to find it.
That's all good. It's not something we need to do now. Just found the
Yeah.
original picture.
Yeah,
The Hulk Hogan based one.
Lynn drew it. I put in artisan.
Yeah, Lynn drew it a long time ago.
You man aggression too. If you find him.
If you find us. Fucking oh my god, there's the
And then
there's
this
the
is
other
the
one.
Hulk Hogan reference.
They were both Hulk Hogan references, which was really funny. Lynn just boobified it.
Lynn was going through,
Yeah, she
Lynn was going through a
simplified
phase
one
where
of
she was making everything gender bent.
Yes, that's how very Lynn coded. Anyways, or how very Mellow coded. Check Mellow out on Twitch. Anyways,
Not.
do not.
Please do.
Or
Anyway.
don't.
Or don't.
If you can find her.
If you can find her, god damn it.
Checking my username right now.
Anyways,
Again, sometimes I feel like I never left Genesis.
sometimes I feel like I never left Genesis. Yeah, it's fair.
Hilku, turn the TV. Turn the TV.
Quick, turn the TV on. Turn the TV on. Yeah,
Quick,
actually,
change the channel.
change the channel. Yeah, actually, what you guys are in right now is a cast production in the city of Ireland. You guys are on TV. No, anyway. Yeah, it's just Caladan sitting around a TV. Just like this is stupid. Click.
Liam somewhere in the back being like, yeah, no, I don't know how to reprogram it. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Stuck on the channel.
Anyways, yeah, no. He motions to the framed map that he put on the table, not his portrait. And as he picks it up, he motions and goes, "You take it. Frankly, we have a million of. Might be a little out of date, but the borders never change."
Are you telling me I have to redo the map now?
What? No,
No.
it's totally fine. You're fine.
No,
Thankfully,
I don't want to put more trees on them. No.
You know, it was a lot less developed back then, so there's a lot of trees. Anyway.
Plus, the mountains have moved, and some of the towns weren't there before.
There's some mountains that are just missing for some reason.
What happened to those?
Oh, and that town wasn't on fire.
Yeah, that wasn't on fire. Anyways.
What's that Barris character?
Mm-hmm.
When was this map made? Oh, I don't know, about 8 years ago. All right. Anyways.
How many members are in the party? 8.
8.
And so it begins.
Actually,
There is 8. Oh my god, that should be our name. Something involving 8.
People!
The Hateful Eight.
The Hateful Eight.
Nope, that's copyrighted.
That's
Nope.
copyrighted. Yeah, it's copyrighted.
The Spiteful Eight.
Yeah, Spiteful Eight. Yeah.
We also
Spiteful Eight.
we also we
The reluctant
oh,
eight.
actually, unlike the Hateful Eight, we don't drop.
Ooh, wait, no.
we don't
Wait.
drop certain slurs.
No,
Yeah, that's
I got one. The Dire Straits.
The Dire Straits.
Oh,
That's also
stupid.
copyrighted. That's a
Actually
band.
pretty good, yeah.
Ah, damn.
Actually, wait, is it the Dire Straits or is it Dire
Well, if we do
Straits?
Dire Straits, but
I
we make
think it's
instead of
Dire Straits, no?
AIGHT, it's 8 as in the number.
Yeah, it's actually that actually makes a lot more sense. Dire Straits totally works. Also, they spell Straits STRAITS. So that's fair.
like the Strait of
Good.
Gibraltar.
Yeah,
like the
exactly.
body of
So we're
water.
good. We can
make
do
it
the
the
Dire
number.
Straits. Yeah, we made
yeah.
the Dire Straits. He was a hater boy. Anyways, sorry.
It's called the Dire Strait, then.
Dire Straits. Yeah. Anyways, with a group name decided, Caspian will kind of wave his hand around as you take the map out and go. But yes, we'll set out in the morning towards Damastura. I will. Actually, no, I won't do that. I would have almost blown our cover. I was about to say I'd send word. Well, that's neither here nor there. What we can do, at the very least, is get moving and we can see the activity that's going on at the very least. We may be able to get a little clearer picture of what Unmiro is looking like when we arrive in the main city. Dress warm. Damastura gets a little cold. And especially if we head out towards Zanyani, it's going to be even colder.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, well, I'm certainly not looking forward to having to potentially climb the Sini Mountain to Sinakaro, but we'll be fine.
You were the one who went. You were the one who wanted to come along with us.
I would have had to walk this either way.
Yeah.
Wait, we're the participants. Why do you have to walk?
If I was the only one on horseback, that would draw me for a crazy amount of attention. Plus, it kind of reminds me of my youth.
What's a horse? What's
Oh,
An
yeah.
animal that isn't strange and somehow awful.
Yeah, exactly.
That thing-
Horses don't exist. You know, they're a fairy tale. they're not real.
Horses are a myth.
Horses are a myth.
They're myth
That's funny.
perpetuated by the
That should be a
Aryan
reoccurring
government.
joke, because we just believe that horses aren't real.
Well, no, that's actually true. Horses aren't
They're-
real. So
They're the cover for the fact that we ride birds to school.
yeah, no. Well, they had the Aryan lynxes that existed, but those are mostly extinct. They're hard to find. But
Except
Charlotte
the one
rode
that Charlotte rode.
Yeah, Charlotte rode in on one, and there are some that are still around, but purebreds are not around. But yeah, no, it is actually canon that horses are a myth. They're not real. It's
Imagine that's what we find in Sinakaro. It's just the horses like, oh my god!
oh my god!
What is that
What the
horrible
fuck is that?
creature? Bring me back
An
to the
abomination.
bring me back to the
I-
nation where I was being attacked by giant, awful monsters. They're less
Stop,
horrific
stop.
than these things.
Sala just walks up to her and says, "Why the long face?"
And then it just shoots like eye lasers or something out.
It just kills him instantly.
Funny enough, and that is actually lore, by the way, for Empire, like getting a little meta with it, is that horses and whatnot are literally, and they're like considered mythical, and subsequently, names like John or Matthew or anything like that are names that are given to like fantasy characters. They're like, that's a stupid name. Who would name their kids something like that? So, by all accounts, Tara's name sounds like a fantasy name to the rest of you. It's like Legolas. That's a good way to look at it. And I stole that horse tidbit from Fable because unicorns exist. But they're like, yes, of course. The normal unicorns are there, but then there's the legendary tales of a horse. And it's like, okay, well, that's fine. Anyways. No. Moving on. Caspian will kind of give a little nod and go, whatever we decide, I will please spend the rest of your day relaxing, and I'll see what I can do to scrounge up some extra supplies, depending on which route we take. We might be gone a little longer than we intended, but
it won't be all bad. Unless we have to climb mountains, which there's pathways. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to bed, and the Caspian will kind of whistle, just a little choo, and the piece of paper he wedged between the door will come flying back, and then he can open the doors again as he just kind of shoved it in there. And then he makes his way out. He kind of gives a little head nod and then heads out.
Well, everyone, make sure you're hydrated and well fed, and you get enough sleep. And go outside. There's lots of sun. Get vitamin D. We gotta be in tip-top shape for this whole
You
thing.
sound like my mother.
What? You don't. You gotta eat your vegetables. You gotta take care of yourself. You know, get your proteins in for your muscles. Grow up real strong.
I'm going to bed.
All right.
What's vitamin D?
That's so true. He's covered in ass.
Vitamin D
Va-
comes from the sun.
Vitamin D's nuts.
Tara's gonna
feel
deck him in the
bad anyway.
face. No, I'm kidding.
I feel bad.
Motherly concern transforms into irate. Just incandescent anger.
Oh
I've
my
decided
God.
to beat you senselessly.
I'm sorry.
I'm getting
while
the
I would love to do this, Caston is not the type of friend
Yes.
to do that joke.
I believe I made a joke. Did that suit the needs of a joke? Are we okay? Was this proper etiquette? Completely
Yeah.
Point
senseless.
sword.
no.
This is a joke.
Caston is a guy to make a really bad joke, or maybe he genuinely attempts to make a joke, but he fucks up the punchline, and then it's just silence, and he turns to face the crowd and goes, "Laugh."
Why did the chicken cross the road? It didn't. It was hit by a cart. Laugh.
Laugh. Okay, but that would be pretty funny. God damn it.
You know, I heard an alternative way of understanding that joke. It's why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side, but not as in get to the other side of the road. Get to the other side by dying, by getting hit, and then going to the other
Yep.
side. You know what I mean?
I hate to tell you this, but yeah, that's really old. When did you hear this?
What? I always thought that the whole reason that joke was taught is because it's a non-joke. You know,
Oh,
you're
well, I mean-
expecting there to be a punchline, and instead the punchline is to get to the other side of the road. Silly.
Yeah, like
I always thought
casuals.
that's what it was.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, it doesn't matter. That interpretation. I heard it for years. When did you hear that?
Oh, the other side, the chicken dying and passing on to the other side. I heard that on Instagram, and I'd never heard that before. I heard it a few days ago.
That's crazy. I knew about that in kindergarten. That's crazy.
I had never heard. I always thought it was get to the other side of the road. But anyways, I don't know.
It could be a
Before we-
Andre.
Gotta
What's
take
the
it on the other side, you know?
Mm-hmm. Was that a Red Hot Chili Peppers? Okay, anyways. we're moving
Yep.
on. Okay.
Heyo.
Now we've gone completely off track and off kilter. So, spend the rest of your nights how you wish. If you all have any plans, you can all settle in. And you can all spend some time together if you wish. But at dawn, Caspian will be waiting for you all at the front gate. And that is
I
where
don't
we will
show
start
up.
the adventure. You don't show up. You left.
I joined Nostra's side and just has a sign that says that Captain.
God damn it.
He goes late to the
Will-
tournament.
We'll
You
join the
just
bad
like-
guys for food.
We'll join the bad guys for food. That's solid.
The bad guys for food. What type of food are you offering me? I'll know some pickles.
Quick question. I don't know what anyone else plans to do, but Faye will have a concern before we finish up the night. Do we want to call it early for Quest sleep? Or
I'm still good to go a bit.
Fair enough, yeah, because, honestly, I know you have to leave soon, so, or leave tomorrow.
I also, I gotta go to dinner soon too, so.
Yeah, I know. I've been keeping an eye on the clock. We got about 30 minutes before you got to leave. And so if you guys feel comfortable cutting it here, we can. Otherwise, if you really want to, I'm happy to do the Fae thing with that time we have. If you think we can do it in about 30 minutes, and Jules, if you have to go, it's totally fine.
I think I'd like to go because technically dinner starts at 4. I always go to dinner late.
You always.
I make it by 5 anyway, so.
Fair enough. Well then, you head out and get food, and what did you have planned for Faye, Ren?
Alright. Good ciao.
See you later.
Good job.
Later.
I did let you know she'd be interested in that person.
Yeah, okay, so I was making sure it was that, because I did remember. I absolutely. Gee.
Because I'm totally fine just waiting on that.
Okay, that's totally fine. I mean, that could be the last thing before we head out, honestly. So we can just pause it here then. That'll be good. We'll pick it up next week for sure.
Okay.
And come Saturday, if there's no simple path, we'll see which day works better. You know, if something comes up, we have 2 days.
Oh,
so
come Saturday, there won't be any simple path because I can't.
You
won't be there.
My only bit, I wouldn't be able to stream it or record it. I can't run Roll20 because I won't have a laptop. I'll just have my phone. My PC is back here. I don't currently have a functioning laptop, so I can't run session.
No, completely fine. So yeah, no, we'll see. We'll see what's going on with that. But yeah, no, I'm more than happy to work that out next time, so we have time to properly do that. Because I actually love GG now. I'll be happy to have a part. But yeah, sounds good. All right, then keep that in mind for next session. That Faye will be going to see Gigi before you guys depart in the morning, and then. That's the sick girl from. Technically, her name was Giannia, but her grandpa passingly called her Gigi. Yeah, no. So we'll keep a mental note of that, and then I will see you all. Well, sooner than next week, but we'll pick this back up next week.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thanks, guys. This was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah,
Thank you for running.
Always a good time.
Yeah, I was mainly just standing in the corner of the room. One thing I'll say is that my laptop is dying. I can't plug in the Bluetooth for my headset anymore without it surging the port, and it doesn't work anymore for a little bit. So it's because I don't have enough power coming into it. So normally when I run sessions like this, I'm pacing because it's really easy to walk the house and talk. But now I have to stand awkwardly in the middle of the living room. So I'm just staring at June the whole time I'm like, hello. But anyways, I had fun. It was good to kind of get things going. And now that you guys have a plan, subsequently you will also have some to map out what you guys think will be the best course to go. If you want to do that out of session and make some ideas, there is a map in the geography tab. If you all want to make a copy of it and then pitch a certain pathway that you want to take, we can see which route might end up being the best for you guys. And depending on the route you take, I can at the very least tell you how long that path would take. None of them will take longer than 6 months. But that is just something to keep in mind that, some paths will be longer than the others. Some might take 5, some might take 5.5, some may take 6, and some, frankly, might be very stupid, and you might just not even make it to the tournament, so don't go that way.
Yeah, and there's also keep in mind that if this is assuming we don't make any stops and we just keep walking nonstop.
Precisely, yeah. But anyways, yeah, wait, what'd you say? What, Lynn?
Like non-stop?
Well, you guys are going to have to stop. Like, you're going to have to take breaks. You're going to have to rest.
If we stay for like several days or weeks at a time, then yeah.
Okay.
Something to keep in mind. But for now, thank you guys for being here. I will see you guys relatively soon. Ren, I'm going to pester you. Yeah, of course. Ren, I'm going to bother you on stream today, so that'll be fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Why do you always sound so concerned? What have I ever done?
Whenever it comes to interacting in video games or on stream, you always take the piss.
Okay, but did you like the summon Reaper Leviathan meme that immediately actually brought a Reaper Leviathan right next to you? That was so fun.
Dislike you heavily.
Maeve thought that was hysterical.
Sure she
hate you both.
Oh man.
Anyways, it was a blast. Thank you guys, and we can cut the recording if we haven't already.
Okie dokie.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.